Call meeting to order. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. The thing I'm going to start with is Clinton County has been designated as an area of high transmission again, so we're all back to wearing face masks. Any public comments? Any public comments? Minutes of the previous meeting?
I make a motion, we accept the minutes as printed.
All in favor?
Second.
Oh,
Aye.
yeah, we need a second.
Thank you.
Fail seconded. That passed, all. Aye. Okay. Bills. Any questions about the bills? Any modifications today, Arson?
We have two additions. One of them is to Conoco Minolta Premier Finance. It's the lease, copier lease, $299.16. And one to Tractor Supply Company, $246.32. It's various items.
I make a motion, the bills be paid.
I have a question. On page 11, the Twin State bill for $15.78, $1,578.33. Back at April 5th meeting, there was an approval for Twin State to come here and do whatever they were doing with the camera system here. We were supported with a quote for $415.83. I've been watching this bill since April to come through to see if we pay it or not. And now it's on the list of bills for $1,578. Just asking why.
Because when we started doing the work to add the additional connection points for the Wi-Fi here, we found that the network was tubed through with mice, so the cables are bad. We had to reset the entire system in the back because the router and modem just stopped working. Currently, the system is still completely broken. It can only support email. If I tried to do anything for streaming, it just completely dies, drops dead.
So is Twin State responsible for going above and beyond the scope of work when it comes and it's still not fixed? Because I have it here, this quote was on March 31st. And this is the quote that I've been watching for.
Yep. And they ended up being here the entire day just to get it so that we could use email in here again, because the entire system fritzed. So we still have to replace the entire thing.
So we're still not done with this $431 bill.
It's
And we're
already
up
at
to-
15.
Now we're up to $1,578 for something that's not budgeted.
Yep. The money we got from the pandemic we can use to apply to this, and I'm looking to apply a bunch of that to just redo the entire network in here.
Are you gonna get a quote for that before it goes any further?
Yeah,
And bring it to the board.
yeah.
Well, this was brought to the board as of the May 5th meeting. It was in my binder. And
Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be what happened. We figured it'd be an easy job, and it turned out to be a nightmare.
So the $1,500 that they did in here, is that all gonna be thrown out, or?
It got the system working so we could do email. The access point itself would be staying, as well as most of the other access points, because they're newer. But like, we have to redo all the wiring, we have to get a new modem, we have to get a new router.
So how much of that $1,500 is gonna go
Towards,
down the drain?
yeah.
no, this is work as of.
Yeah, this is
the
work
work
as
that they
of.
did that day of April.
Right, I understand that, but he's saying that
Yeah.
we need a whole new system anyway. So they did $1,500, almost $1,600 worth of work.
And they ain't got it done.
It's not done yet.
Are we gonna have to replace it all?
Yeah, we're gonna have to replace the system anyway.
I just think we should get firmer quotes than what we have. Or look elsewhere.
Yeah, they should have looked at the system a little bit better before they quoted us $400.
No, all they were expecting was just get an access point installed. They got the access point, they installed it, and the entire system went down. So it's the bill for the access point and the installation of that, and then the bill is to fix what collapsed entirely.
Do we really need that?
Wireless access,
Yeah.
internet in here?
Yeah.
It runs the, it's supposed to run the sign out front, but that's actually on a third-party network in the building. We found out there's a third-party network in the building. For some reason, it appears that the office that's over there with the computer that controls that is hooked to the third-party network. So that's why that sign works. And Ethan told me that he couldn't change the sign up front from his office in the back, and now we know why, because it's a completely separate network. So we need to rip everything out and make sure the network we have in here is actually a network we control, not some third party, and get it so it can support the email, the marquee, the online site.
Well, for that price, we should get 3 quotes then.
Yeah,
3 quotes and see which one is the cheapest and brought to the board.
So which network runs our cameras?
that's ours.
That's
The one
that
in here,
that
the
they
one that we
worked on.
fixed, because when that went down, the cameras also went down.
So if we got a new system in here, would we be able to do what we want to do with the cameras and extend them out by the pier?
Yeah.
We'd be able to do all that?
Yeah, that was it. That's the idea, is to use some of the ARPA funds we got to redo the network, expand the Wi-Fi access. We have Wi-Fi coverage for the entire park, which increases public access to internet in case there's another shutdown, and they've got to do all their classes online. They can come to the park and do it here. And it'll allow us to increase the number of IP cameras we have that will cover the park for security and vandalism. And we can extend it all the way out to the pier. It's just, when we came in, we were expecting to find a network that wasn't chewed up by mice and cables frayed and broken, and we found that it was broken. It's currently still just jury rigged. I'm amazed it works still.
That's kind of my concern.
Perhaps what you could do is ask them to give you an up-to-date estimate as what it's gonna take to bring it up to basically perform whatever work you're looking at.
Yeah, yeah.
Because currently, right now, it doesn't support much of anything other than email.
Yeah, we understand that we need the internet service here, but we'd like a little better quote than what they gave us.
Yeah. The work that they quoted us for, they have done. The access point is there. It's just the rest of it broke. So it turned into the 400 and whatever dollar bill it was to install that access point, plus the grant that it ended up taking just to keep the network running when we found out everything was broken. That's the way it is.
All right, we got a motion and a second?
All in favor? Wait, who seconded?
Bill seconded,
I seconded,
but
yeah.
Bill seconded. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
No.
Aye. Correspondence?
Okay, we got 2 things. One, Jenna Seguin would like to work with the library to put on a movie in the park for the children of Rouses Point, and they want permission to use the stage for a couple hours on September 18th, which is a Saturday, with a rain date of September 25th. They're gonna show A Bug's Life, Disney. Library has a performance license for it. Not gonna charge, of course, for the families to come to the movies.
I'll put that in the form of a motion. Give Dennis Seaman permission to use the stage for a movie date for September 18th. On the rainy day of the 19th.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. The other thing is we've got some information back from the Complete Streets people who came up and did a walkthrough of our downtown street from the library to the Civic Center here. She was going to send me a spreadsheet on the prices for the signage that they've discussed so far and has not gotten around to doing that yet. However, she did say that it comes significantly under the $8,000 grant limit that we can get through the Complete Streets since we passed that resolution last year. We can get $8,000 towards supplies, but our guys would have to do the work, but there's no formal in-kind amount that has to be put towards it. What they did say when they came along, first of all, yeah, to install, they'll buy the library sign for us and then we would just have to install it on the street. There was some question in our downtown area. We do have those yield to pedestrians signs that are supposed to be put on the center line in the street. Right now, ours are over to the side for the most part. They're supposed to be on the center line. But as we were talking about it, the trucks are going by, we have two trucks going at the same time, and then a truck trying to get around. It's like, oh, well, now it makes sense that they've been moved to the side of the road, because there would be no way to keep them in our center line without them getting run over by trucks routinely. So their suggestion was perhaps we could, if we can't put them in the middle of the road, then we can get signs that would be on poles on the side of the street that would say essentially the same thing. Again, they'll pay for the signs, we would have to do the installation. Our sign out here by the park is not a pedestrian crossing sign, it's a school crossing sign, so they say we really have to swap that out. I didn't know there was a difference, but you see the pictures of the different signs on your paper. What we have is a school crossing sign that needs to be changed with a pedestrian crossing. And then one of their suggestions that we could do is put advanced crossing sign notice, so you go back a block on either side, so that it is, there's pedestrian crossing ahead for the park, to put more of a warning in there. So they're going to come back. Actually, the woman who runs the grant part of it is gonna come back, and we're gonna take another walk to see if, since this is coming so much lower than the 8,000 we can get, we'll take a look and see if there's other places we can use the grant money. And one of the things she mentioned as a possibility is that we could get benches. So I want to take her and show her where we've got the cement pads for the benches already poured by the shuffleboard, out in the park, by the tennis courts, and by the pickleball courts. So we might be able to get more benches, which I know is something that we've wanted to get in here. So I'm gonna redo the walk with another person who is a money person, can talk about what they could additionally give us. This person who came through here is really the traffic person, wanted to look at the streets and what kind of signage we should have as a village. We're in pretty good shape. The only thing that was truly an issue is that we have that school crossing sign where we want a pedestrian crossing sign. Everything else he was okay with. So after I meet with her, she's coming up Thursday, I will bring more recommendations for what we can do back to this board. And since this will pay supplies, but not the installation part, we'd need our public works for that. Doing something like spending money on benches here would be a good idea, because we've already got the cement pads poured. It wouldn't be a whole lot of work on the part of our guys to put the benches. They'll need a couple of bolts to put those down. So I will meet with her and discuss what, how far off are we from $8,000, how much do we have to play with, what we could possibly do, how much work that would take from our public works guys, and then bring all that back here.
How much is the matching?
There's no real match. They will give us up to $8,000 in supplies. And then our staff have to do the installation. So where they have signs or what have you, they'll pay for the sign, but we have to actually put it in the ground. So it's not a formal match, it's
So
just that
there's no money match? It's
No
more or
money
less,
match.
Labor
Yeah.
match?
Yes.
could we get for the downtown crossing, could we get one of those signs that the pedestrians can hit a button and it lights the sign up with the flashing yellow lights I've seen in other villages and towns?
There was a suggestion about the flashing lights, but we have something in our code about flashing signs downtown. So I don't know that flashing signs is something that we could put on Lake Street.
Yeah, we'd have to look at the code then. Because that's mostly meant for store signs and stuff, but pedestrian crossing signs.
See, they have one in Plattsburgh next to Georgia Pacific.
Yeah, you push the button that you want to cross, and then you get the cross
Oh, they do
signal
it.
and it flashes.
Yeah. And
There's
there's
a
a
little love in the city, yeah.
The actual pedestrian sign goes up. You don't really want to just wait for the whole time.
It's just flashing all the time.
Yeah,
It's got white lights around it.
it's got these yellow lights around the perimeter of the sign, you hit the button, the lights flash, let people know there's a person crossing the
Oh,
road.
so, but you do have to hit the button, it won't be flashing.
It won't be
24/7.
continuous, you have to hit the button.
Okay. I could ask about it.
Okay. Because there's a lot of times when cars don't seem to
That
notice
sounds
you.
better than the crosswalk sign.
It's better than the standard crosswalk sign, trying to put those things in the middle of the road, because we stopped doing that since people drove off with them, stuck in wheel wells.
Oh, yeah, Lake Street's only so wide too, and you got a lot of
Like you
traffic,
said.
you have a lot of tractor trailer
Yeah,
traffic, that's
exactly.
the problem.
Especially where we put them, you're kind of going around the corner. You put them over by the marina and you're going around the corner a little bit.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much for the tractor trailer to hit it and take it down the road.
Okay, so we'll look into that. Any other
Nope,
correspondence?
that's it, thank you.
Okay. We'll just start with, go down the resolutions here. I've got 11 resolutions for the fire department. So I guess we'll just do these one by one. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point wishes to express their congratulations to George Rivers, who will be celebrating 65 years of volunteer service to the Rouses Point Fire Department. Whereas Mr. Rivers began his career in 1956 and has been a role model to many members of the department. And whereas Mr. Rivers has served as department chief for 19 years and as Clinton County Deputy Fire Coordinator for over 35 years, and has been an active member of the Board of Directors of the New York State Association of Fire Chiefs, and is currently serving as captain of the Fire Police. And whereas Mr. Rivers has been chairman of numerous committees within our departments, and company's dedication has been shown in his many acts of unselfish deeds, not only to our department and the residents of Rouses Point, but to residents within Clinton County and throughout New York State. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point does hereby congratulate George Rivers for achieving this milestone, and thank him for his dedication he has shown to the Rouses Point Fire Department and residents of the village. Is a roll call? Trustee Arno?
Aye.
Trustee Dale?
Aye.
Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
For some reason you're not on these.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I left you off in the typing, but I will get them on the final copy before they go out.
Mayor Thone votes aye. This resolution carries. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point wishes to express their congratulations to Benjamin Arno, who will be celebrating 50 years of volunteer service to Rouses Point Fire Department. And whereas Mr. Arno has been a role model to members throughout his entire career since joining the Rouses Point Fire Department, and whereas Mr. Arno served as first and second assistant fire chief and captain of our fire department, and served as company president and vice president, he currently serves as department safety officer. And whereas Mr. Arno has been chairman of numerous committees within our department and company, and his dedication has been shown in his many acts of unselfish deeds, not only to our department, but to residents of Rouses Point neighboring communities. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point does hereby congratulate Benjamin Arno for achieving this milestone, and thank him for the dedication he has shown to the Village of Rouses Point Fire Department and residents of the village. Trustee, take your vote for your own resolution.
I know.
Sure, why not?
Trustee Arnold? Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point wishes to express their congratulations to Alan Nuttall, who will be celebrating 40 years of service, volunteer service to the Village of Rouses Point. And whereas Mr. Nuttall has been a role model to members throughout his career since joining the Rouses Point Fire Department, and whereas Mr. Nuttall has served as safety officer of the fire department and has served as company president, vice president, and warden, and whereas Mr. Nuttall has been chairman of various committees within our department and company, and his dedication has shown in his many acts of unselfish deeds, not only to our department, but to the residents of Rouses Point and neighboring community. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point does hereby congratulate Alan Nuttall for achieving this milestone and thank him for dedication he has shown to Rouses Point Fire Department and residents of the village. Trustee Arno?
Aye.
Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
And the mayor votes aye. Started reading them, so I'm gonna read them all now. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point wishes to express their congratulations to James Siegman, who will be celebrating 35 years of volunteer service to the Village of Rouses Point, and whereas Mr. Siegman has been a role model to members throughout his career since joining the Rouses Point Fire Department, and whereas Mr. Siegman has served as captain, safety officer, lieutenant of our fire department, and has served numerous company offices, and whereas Mr. Siegman has been chair member of numerous committees within our department and company, and his dedication has been shown in his many acts of unselfish deeds, not only to our department, but to residents of the Village of Rouses Point and neighboring communities. Therefore, it be resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point does hereby congratulate James Siegman for achieving this milestone and thank him for the dedication he has shown to the Rouses Point Fire Department and residents of the village. Trustee Arno?
Aye.
Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point wishes to express their congratulations to Brian Pelkey, who will be celebrating 30 years of volunteer service to the Rouses Point Fire Department. And whereas Mr. Pelkey has been a role model to members throughout his career since joining the Rouses Point Volunteer Fire Department, and whereas Mr. Pelkey has served numerous different department officers, such as chief of our department, and served company offices as well. Whereas Mr. Pelkey has been chairman of numerous committees within our department and company, and his dedication has been shown in his many acts of unselfish deeds, not only to our department, but to residents of Rouses Point and neighboring communities. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point does hereby congratulate Brian Pelkey for achieving this milestone and thank him for his dedication he has shown to the Rouses Point Fire Department and residents of the village. Trustee Arno?
Aye.
Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point wishes to express their gratitude to Gerald Robert, who will be celebrating 30 years of service to the Rouses Point Fire Department, and whereas Mr. Robert has been a role model to members throughout his career since joining the Rouses Point Fire Department, and whereas Mr. Robert has served numerous different company offices and currently serves as company president, an office he has held for numerous years, and whereas Mr. Roberts has been chairman of numerous committees within our department and company, and his dedication has been shown in his many unselfish deeds, not only to our department, but to residents of Rouses Point and neighboring communities. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point does hereby congratulate Gerald Robert for achieving this milestone and thank him for the dedication he has shown to Rouses Point Fire Department and residents of the village. Trustee Arno?
Aye.
Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
And Mayor votes aye. Only two more. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point wishes to express their congratulations to Sean LeBombard, who will be celebrating 25 years of volunteer service in the Rouses Point Fire Department, and whereas Mr. LeBombard has been a role model to members throughout his career since joining the Rouses Point Volunteer Fire Department, And whereas Mr. Lombard has served numerous different department officers and currently serves as second assistant chief and has served company offices as well. And whereas Mr. Lombard has been chairman of numerous committees within our department and company, and his dedication has been shown in his many acts of unselfish deeds, not only to our department but to residents of Rouses Point and neighboring communities. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point does hereby congratulate Sean Lombard for achieving this milestone and thank him for the dedication he has shown to the Village of Rouses Point Fire Department and residents of the village. Trustee Arno?
Aye.
Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Mayor votes aye. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point wishes to express their congratulations to Charles LePan, who will be celebrating 25 years of volunteer service to the Rouses Point Fire Department. And whereas Mr. LePan has been a role model to members throughout his career since joining the Rouses Point Volunteer Fire Department. And whereas Mr. LePan has served numerous different department offices, such as first and second lieutenant of our department, and has served company offices as well. And whereas Mr. LePan has been chairman of numerous committees within our department and company, and his dedication is shown in his many unselfish deeds, not only to our department, but to residents of Rouses Point and neighboring communities. Therefore, be it resolved, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Rouses Point does hereby congratulate Charles LePan for achieving this milestone and thank him for the dedication he has shown to the Rouses Point Fire Department and residents of the village. Trustee Arno?
Aye.
Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
And Mayor votes aye. Lots of milestones for the fire department today. Do we forget someone?
No, I would like to make a motion that the village, along with these resolutions, give a plaque to each one of these individuals. You know, showing their, no,
That's not something we do?
not something we do, they do it themselves,
Yes, they would.
you guys do it.
Okay, fire
Okay.
department does it.
This is more of the paperwork, the resolution of the award ceremony that we have in 2 weeks.
Okay.
Congratulations, everyone.
Congratulations, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay, resolution 2021-21 to adopt the hazard mitigation plan. We have a hazard mitigation plan that is part of the county. Is there anything new with this since last year? Because I didn't see anything.
There is a 500-page plan that goes with this. I'm sure a lot of it has been updated, or they wouldn't have taken on such a large project. All of the different municipalities within Clinton County were interviewed as part of this plan. What I put in your board packets are those pages that they created specific to Rouses Point. But they're, you know, they looked into flooding and wildfire and ice, you know, potential hazard, windstorm, all of those, and rated them to how much of a hazard they are for each of our municipalities, what we currently have in place to deal with these sort of things, so that we can look at this and see if there's anything that we need to work on going forward to get ourselves up to speed. Rouses Point seems to be in pretty good shape. I read through our part of it, some of the other municipalities. We do seem to have all of the requirements ticked off as far as having place, you know, like this place being somewhere that people can go if the electricity is out for an extended period of time. We have generators. People in the village who are on oxygen or other medical things can come here or to the fire department and have those sorts of things charged. So those sorts of things, we seem to be in pretty good shape. So either we can adopt the county plan, or we would have to come up with our own plan, which would just be recreating anything that has already been done here.
And they've got a pretty nice package for us here. So I move to adopt the 2021-21 hazard mitigation plan as presented by the county. Pretty nice, tidy little plan they've got for us. Any seconds?
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call vote.
Oh.
Yes, please.
Trustee Arno?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
Resolution 2021-22 to add Dale to the TD bank account.
And yourself.
Hmm?
And yourself.
Oh, and myself? Oh, I thought we were, okay, and myself then, because apparently I wasn't on there yet. Trustee Arno?
Aye.
Trustee Rodriguez?
Aye.
Trustee Menard?
Aye.
Trustee Pelkey?
Aye.
All in favor? Mayor votes aye.
Okay, I have everyone for aye. Do we have a second on that?
Second.
Thank you.
Okay, we've got the 2022 EMS contract.
This seems a little different than last year.
Price tag.
You got a question, yeah, you got a question on that. I mean, not the 131,000, but the 1,109,700.
That's not all coming, that's coming from what they expect to be billing to the people, because they bill people for using the ambulance services. Our portion is 131,000, which I believe is about 8,000 higher than it was last year, but it includes the coverage for the weekends.
Right, well, I get that, but this was never in there before, and it does say that if there's a shortfall from the billing revenue, that the village is gonna be responsible?
No, it says the village will not be responsible if there's a shortfall from the billing revenue, that's what it should say.
Well, it kind of says it, but then it doesn't, then it says it, so it says the village is hereby relieved from the obligation to pay more than the amount of 131,000 from the tax pool, but then and is re-levied from any shortfall from the billing revenue. So, they're saying that we're not gonna pay more, but then we're gonna be re-levied if they come up short. So, that kinda confuses me a little bit.
What does that mean?
My understanding was that we
That
would
would
be
be
billed 131,000 only.
Right.
That's a Tom question.
On page 3,
Yeah,
Under-
I was not given that, so I don't have it in front of me.
oh,
There you go.
And this 131,000,
Huh?
it was 98,000 last year,
Because actually
Right.
relieved with both.
so that's,
Page three, you say, Dale?
Relieved and then
re-levied?
No, I think it was
And
93,000
it's, okay,
last
Yeah, I
year.
read that, that's relieved.
93.
okay,
So it's like 8,000 more to
Relieved.
include the
Relieved, okay.
weekends.
Yeah.
my mistake.
No, it went up to 131,000.
Okay, I just that $1 million threw me in there, that was never put in there before.
Oh,
Should
so
we-
it's more than that, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
33,000 increase.
It's 28,000.
28,000.
28,000 increase.
More than 38,000.
It's because of
Because
this
of the
year,
weekend.
we got free coverage through the summer, then as of
Yeah.
July, we have to start paying for the coverage.
Yeah, we had like a trial period to see
We had
how.
a trial period for a year that we voted on before.
Right.
Yeah, I have 38,000 written
And
here.
that was at 90,
I can't read my own script.
98,000, something like that.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
now it's paying the full price as of July, 131,000.
and that's gonna be coverage
The same coverage
Every
we have
day.
now,
every day, oh,
same coverage we have
Same
for
coverage we have now.
weekends and.
right, weekends. Yeah, I didn't have an issue with that, I read that over, yeah.
I like this
Okay.
one part. Should the amount of billing revenue received collected during the contract year exceed 978,700, the excess billing revenue shall be remitted to the village.
Yeah,
Kind of nice, huh?
Yeah.
So we don't have to pay for any shortfall, and if it goes over their estimate, they pay us
we'll
back.
get back, yeah, we'll get some back.
I just wanna make sure that we have clarification on this. I mean, we just received this, he just signed it on,
Yeah, the 25th.
on 8/25, so I mean, we should have a couple weeks to digest this and let Tom at least make sure that the verbiage in it is right.
Yeah,
We can bring it to the next meeting.
Sure. Susan, you could send me a copy?
No, you can have that one.
Again? Okay, sure. I'm trying to remember if I've got,
The old one,
yeah,
I can send you that
if
also.
you could, that'd be great, I'll take a look at it.
just compare them and see what your thoughts.
Yep.
And
Absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. When does the other one expire?
July.
July first.
July.
Oh, so it's already expired, or?
Oh,
No,
What, 22?
of next year.
No, this will start January 1st, 2022.
right, it starts on
Okay,
January
that's fine.
first.
Right.
Yeah, it goes from year to year.
I just wanna make sure
Their
that we're not.
calendar year is different from ours.
Right,
Yeah.
we just paid in July, right, Arson, or is it?
Right.
No,
The invoice is due in July, but it will cover January through December 2022.
I just wanted to make sure we weren't inadvertently putting ourselves into a gap in coverage.
No.
No, no.
So we can wait until the next meeting and give Tom some time to review it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. That is fire department grant, there it is. Fire department grant. The Rouses Point Fire Department has been awarded a grant of $28,352.38 under the 2020 FEMA Assistance to Firefighters Grant. The grant application is for the purchase of various nozzles, a fit testing machine, and RIP packs. The total project cost is $29,770. This grant requires a match of 5% of the total project cost of $29,770. The required matching funds of $1,417.62. The matching funds are available in the fire department budget, requiring no additional funding beyond current appropriations. The fire department respectfully requests the board permission to accept this grant. I make a motion to accept the grant.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'd just like to add, thank you to Mike LeBlanc and the fire department for getting this grant.
He's really good at getting those grants. Okay. I'd like to open a job search for a typist.
That motion?
I make a motion to open a job search for a new typist.
Do we need a new typist?
I thought we were gonna talk about that.
Yeah.
Do we have enough work for?
Part-time typist, yeah.
So are we gonna do 20 hours, we're gonna do 24? What's,
Wasn't she 20 hours before?
It was 20 hours at this point in time.
So, this is a senior typist, so there's a civil service list that you have to go off from?
Actually, I don't know that she should have been classified as a senior typist. At one point in time, we had more than one person in that office staff pool. We had, and we're going back a number of years, so there was, the senior typist is a position that is the supervisor of the rest of the typing or clerical staff. So that, this is not a supervisory position, it would just be typist. 20 hours a week.
still have the list
Still
off from
some-
civil service, correct?
No.
No?
No, not for that.
For regular pay?
Not for part-time in the village, I don't know that we would have to have a list.
I would like to see a list of duties that they're, that make sure they have enough work for it.
I can do that.
Because we still have, we're still in talks about our last typist. Right, John?
Yeah.
Okay. Make a motion to scrap the damaged truck.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Now that's going to a scrapyard, so the only parts he's taking off it is the tires and like the alternator. He's not taking, I mean, he's not stripping the whole truck, it's just going to the scrapyard.
He's not taking any seats or running boards either?
I don't-
He took the seat out.
Yeah, he took the seat out, repurposed the seat, but, I mean, like, to take the transmission and the motor out, it's not worth it.
No.
Transmission's no good anyway.
So we just,
Scrap.
so the bare necessities, and then it goes to scrap.
And can we have a second for that?
I second
He
it.
seconded it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, I'm pretty sure we did that already, but. Okay, other updates. I looked into getting some trail cams for putting out by the state dock. The cost of those varies from $50 to $250, and we can get them so they have a cell phone trigger. So if like snaps a photo, it sends it on the cell phone signal.
Did you talk to the different PDs about the ongoing complaints about
Yeah,
that?
I passed them the information that, about like when people are hanging out over there and having their drinking parties, sent that off to the sheriff's department. They now know when to run their patrols, then they'll try to get some, because they've only still got one deputy for the night. So they're gonna try to send him up here during those hours to see if he sees anything.
I've been going by there late at night, taking a ride, and it's been pretty quiet lately. So I don't know if the summer's over with, or, you know, what's going on.
I usually go there on my way to work. And
Yeah.
nobody's there.
I think the partying summer is just about over with, so.
Yeah, I swung by a couple of times going home from the office.
A little colder.
They're not hanging out in front.
Well, now that they know that they've been,
Oh, that too.
that they're known about. Okay. Update about the MEUA conference last week. New York State is still going on with their environmental program. It's their goal of having offshore wind, and lots and lots and lots of solar is still ongoing. They're also making moves to ban fossil fuel cars from being sold. Their goal is like in 30 years or so is to have it so the only cars you can buy at dealerships are electric. They're also moving towards banning any new hookups to natural gas lines. There'll be no more gas boilers or gas furnaces, and they're looking at banning any new fossil fuel heating systems. It's a bit extreme, I think, and probably gonna be a bit rushed with a lot of unforeseen consequences, but that is what they are doing right now. And some of the stuff, which is kind of interesting, they shut down a coal-fired power plant, which then a Bitcoin mining operation mainly moved into, started operating out of, using power generated in Pennsylvania from a coal power plant, and their own natural gas generators. Like, well, that was a step forward and like 5 steps back. So what else? Also, I found out that there is a rider with our contract for the hydro allocation. So if someone comes in and uses a lot of power but doesn't fit the economic development program in New York State, we can we can bill them the entire surplus cost. So that way it doesn't fall into the residents. Plattsburgh has taken advantage of that for the big Bitcoin mining operation down there, because that Bitcoin mining operation has to pay for all the supplemental, and the residents don't. And that is a rider that is currently existing on our contract, that I found out about when I was down there,
Excellent.
which is kind of nice to know.
Yeah.
And it will cover any company that doesn't fit with the New York State economic development programs. But if they fit with the economic development programs, then we get the extra hydro allocation anyway out of that, so. We got a nice safety net. Is there anything else interesting? Oh, yes. There's a project apparently for the wind turbines in New York City. MEUA isn't lobbying against the wind project itself, it's lobbying the way against how New York State wants to bill it, because New York State is saying that the entire state benefits from it, so they want upstate to help pay for the system upgrades. MEUA is arguing against it because it's a program for Long Island in New York City, which provides us no direct benefit whatsoever. Because when it comes to projects up here, it is, we pay for the projects up here, New York City doesn't. But if New York City does a project, they want us to pay for that. So they're lobbying against that. And they've been pretty successful so far. Okay, that should finish the MEUA. And now the window permit. Saving the best for last. not sure where to start with this one.
Why don't you let John explain what's going on with it?
John Cooper?
On the permit, was that what you're discussing?
Yes.
Yeah. The only thing is that we had, the four people that are really involved on this, of course, is Vinnie Gay and Norm Legan. And those places are four places that have been repaired and fixed up considerably, especially Mr. Turner, who just did a wonderful job. And I allowed that permit to slide by, and, well, I don't know if you want to call it slide by. I talked to the guy that owns, the gentleman that owns the building. Actually, I called him for a couple of years. That building's been almost 10 years sitting there like it is. I was just about the only way to get something done is to agree to use the regular windows. They're commercial grade windows, but of course they're house style windows. And of course you're gonna lose 2 feet of windows because they got they're about 5 feet. I had the village boys measure them up, they're 4.5 feet, almost 5 feet, and by 8 feet. If you put the 2 windows in, you're gonna come up with 6 feet. But the only thing that they're not, the great big plate glass windows. But as far as, and he's gonna do the facade in the front and the whole thing's over again. So I felt, and I've already received some compliments that the people went by, just saw the few that they put in, and people are more than, it's about time something was done about that. You guys can handle that any way you want, but that's the way it went.
Now, is he gonna fix up the rest of the front of the building?
Yes, he is. That was part of the deal.
He's gonna
All
reside
them
everything.
Vines and everything that's on the side of the building are gonna be gone, aren't
I've been trying to get him to do it. Listen, but you know, this is, as you, everybody in here knows, well, some of you don't, but most of us know, I've got paperwork from Clifford in there, all kinds of stuff. It's been going on for 9 years. And because, you know, I feel so bad for Mr. and Mrs. Turner over there, and of course, we got Vinnie Gray directly across the street. We got our coffee shop there. We got a lorry shop. And that's the only eyesore in the village. So, I mean, you can take me to task for that if you want, but I'm trying to make the village look a little better.
Well, I think it does. I think it does look better. I think he's doing a good job.
Yeah, he's gonna,
And,
but,
I mean, we've been after this guy for,
well,
I don't know how
according to
many
what I
years.
could see there, ever since Danny moved his parts store out of there, that's the way it's been.
and I've also gotten some comments that it looks nice and it's
Well-
about time that.
Well, I'd like to, you know, we gotta treat the Turners, put a lot of money into their place, did a hell of a job, and they gotta market that. In order to market that, how can you market that with that thing alongside of it? That's my point here.
Do the new windows meet code? Are they within the code guidelines?
Oh, yeah,
They are.
they're all, you know, they're all, you know, they're regular, you buy them, but the thing is, like I said, there's 36 inches and 36 inches, and you had, what's close, was about 7.5 feet was what you had before. They put a divider in, the mayor there's got a picture of it, there's one little divider in the center in between them, which takes up some of the space. And it kinda gives it a uniform thing, but you can, just from looking at what's on the north end and what's looking on the south end, you can see that it doesn't look that bad. It helps down there. And if he finishes up the front with something decent, he hasn't showed me that yet, what he's gonna use. But still, I still think we're gaining on this.
The only thing I mean, and I guess I just need to make sure I know what building we're talking about. I saw a bunch of these pictures that are attached. Just for point of clarity, and I know,
Well, the thing is that the gentleman in question, the other pictures that you see there are the ones that he owns a building across the street, but they've already done that to. The window, I don't know how that ever goes, the little tiny windows they put in there. But these here are at least big enough to be store windows.
well, the pictures, and again, I'm sorry if I'm sounding sort of naive about what building we're talking about. But I'm looking at, let's say that picture, this picture right
Yes,
here.
that's the one. That's the building.
That's the one that has the
Yeah.
buffer paper in the
Here,
window.
Tom,
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I got this picture right here.
yes,
Okay. So,
better to
so is
see
there,
your color.
is there a current picture that says, shows what he's done?
Yes, right here. If you come look,
I was reaching for my phone's in the window.
Okay. So what's going in that building?
Well, There is nothing actually going in any of those buildings yet, but in order to attract somebody here,
Now, see,
we
here
just
Tom,
can't, we just can't have a building like that in the middle
this
of it.
is the other building that he did about 5, 6 years ago,
Okay, what's in that building right
residential.
now? Okay, but there was an issue at one point where that was even allowed downtown.
Well,
Right, but I think.
Supposed to be commercial.
yeah.
Downstairs floors are supposed to be commercial. That's why I'm wondering if there's a code violation on putting a smaller window or.
You know,
There is an issue
happen
with
again.
the way that downtown is supposed to look.
Yeah.
Right, there is a section, and Susan actually sent this, because apparently Pat Burkett had, I sent her an email saying how she was kind of concerned about how this was looking.
That's her right there, Tom.
Oh my
Right
God,
here.
okay, sorry.
It does say in the code,
You know, with the mask on, Pat, I'm sorry. Yeah, there is, section 120 of the village code talks about, it's a lot of generalities, but it basically says, you know, windows should, you know, kind of follow what's established among adjacent structures in terms of style, configuration, and size. It also mentions about storefront windows shall make up at least 50% of the first floor facade. And then it's also for businesses, it'd be preferable to maintain the size of the original storefront windows. Now, I understand that things change, but again, I think when we're looking at that kind of change that's being proposed by Mr. Danis, is really kind of in line with maybe what's called an area variance, and he should have probably gone to the zoning board at least to get some kind of, get some opinions from the zoning board regarding that. I mean, in particular, there's a specific dimensional requirement, which I just mentioned, where, you know, storefront windows shall make up at least 50% of the first floor facade. Well, those new windows aren't doing that. I mean, at least I don't think they are, looking at the picture Dale just showed. And I'm not saying that he can't demonstrate why he wants to do it, nor am I saying that he should not be able to do it, but there's a process that needs to be followed if someone could apply to do that. And that process would be essentially going in front of the zoning board to get an area variance from the dimensional requirements that's in the village code.
it does say that the storefront windows shall make up at least 50% of the first floor. But it also says transparent storefronts are not necessary for some businesses such as professional offices. So if he's looking at
Well, I
turning
think-
those into office space, then,
Yeah, but that talks about more transparent windows as compared to maybe not transparent windows. It doesn't, I don't think, necessarily leave the 50% of the facade requirement.
right, but it says that 50% facade is not necessary for some businesses such as professional offices. That's what it says right in our code.
Again, I don't have the full code here with me, I'm just reading what I'm reading. It says
This
transparent.
is what Susan sent us.
Yeah, it says transparent storefronts are not necessary for some businesses such as professional offices, and I see that. But transparent storefronts, I guess I don't know what that language means to me. Does that mean that they don't have to meet the consent requirement, or I don't know? And the other issue is we still really don't, I mean, I understand he's doing this hopefully to attract some business, which I understand, but,
Right.
you know, obviously we're trying to, at least under our code, as I remember, we're trying to limit residential uses in the downtown area, keep it more commercial. And whether that's, I mean, I don't know what kind of floor plan he's got inside or anything either, but, I mean,
Yeah, that's one thing we don't know, so I guess.
Don, you know, we are, actually, right now, Susan's underway with her comprehensive plan now. We got opinions from the people, she got over 200 responses on that, and our zoning laws are definitely gonna change.
oh, no, I understand that, but until they change, we're stuck with what we got, you know, and I'm saying, and again, I'm not saying he should be able to do it. Does it look better? Absolutely looks better, I agree with what you're showing, but again, there's still a process that has to be followed to get to that point.
He didn't give-
I mean, if he's saying he's gonna market that as professional offices perchance, then he maybe could make that argument, I suppose. I mean, I guess transparent storefronts, if, in some ways, you probably are right, Dale, I mean, I guess it'd be just all glass,
Right.
you know, and I get that. And this building certainly looked like, for the most part, at least in the first floor, it's pretty much all glass as it
Right.
existed.
And we have, over the years, a lot of storefronts have become offices, you know, and have been transformed,
Right,
so.
but I think, without him demonstrating, or, and I looked quickly through his application, it
Yeah,
didn't really
I
say
see.
too much about what he wanted to do, or what his plan was, or anything else.
No,
You know, again,
no, I didn't see anything in there.
actually, he talked about number of family units, 5 family units.
Well, it says what's existing now, existing
Yeah.
use per site.
There's 3 units in there now,
Apartment.
Upstairs?
yes.
I guess we just don't want to turn around and put these, you know, turn it into apartments on the bottom floor now, it's only supposed to be for commercial.
Right, now, again, so if he came forward and said, this is what I'm doing, this is why I'm doing it, if it's different than the, you know, the requirement, then, okay, then he probably could meet the standards to be approved for it, but we don't really know that.
Yeah. We don't really know any.
You should have gone for a variance through the zoning board of appeals.
That's what I think.
Because if you wanted a more standard size that was smaller, the Turner, it's the Turners that's down the street, right?
Right.
They did, the
Next
Turners
door.
did got a slightly smaller window for their front, because that was a standard size. This is not, if you'd gotten a smaller commercial-looking window that was just a big pane, it wouldn't, well, we wouldn't be talking about it today.
Right.
Correct.
Well, my concern is he has 3 apartments upstairs, and the permit says that he is looking for 5.
Right.
So where's the other 2 coming from? The downstairs floor?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but he also says estimated cost of construction is $5,000, so.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That's
Not
not
building
enough
2
for
units for that.
apartments.
True, but again, there's just some inconsistencies there.
Right,
and,
right, right.
You know,
Yeah, I agree.
I think we need to get some clarification from him, and,
Yeah,
I mean, maybe we should probably at least ask him to apply for the area variance, so we can at least, the zoning board can do their job to look at it and see what they think.
Yeah, because I got left out, you guys got left out in this, because it should have been through you first.
If you're speaking to me, the only reason I stuck my nose into it was because I specifically was forwarded, well, I had an email, I was copied on an email from the owners of the building beside who said, how come we were forced to buy expensive commercial storefront windows and he is not? And it looks to me like he's putting in apartments, and she was objecting to that, considering that she had been required to put in a different kind of window. That's the only reason I sort of said, I don't know. I had no idea what the permit had been granted for.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need to have some additional clarification from Mr. Danis, what his plan is for that building, and obviously, I'm gonna guess he's aware residential shouldn't be in there, but we need to make sure he's aware of it. And I would say even at this point, even maybe somewhat after the fact, but, I mean, he's not completed the project either. You know, he needs to come in front of the zoning board at least to give them some demonstration as to why he should be getting the, putting in the side windows that he's looking to do.
right. Yeah,
Looking at the
That's
building,
my take.
yeah. Yeah, we definitely could use some more
But you're right, say for
information.
example, he wants to say, I'm gonna put offices.
okay.
Well, give him, demonstrate, what's the plan? You know,
Right.
how you gonna do it? You know, and again, how you do it for $5,000 even for that matter, I mean, but, you know, show us what you wanna do.
Right.
And we don't wanna give you a permit for something you're gonna turn around and throw in our face and just put residential. Then you go out and you're complaining about that.
Yeah.
Because I'm certainly happy he's finally doing something, I just,
So where do we move from here? Do we have John contact him?
Would you like me to have him resubmit the application as per saying, but he did say something about somebody coming in there that had an office, was gonna put an office in there. And I told him he had to leave at least 25 feet in front for the storefront. It says it somewhere in our
Oh,
paperwork.
I mean, again, I look at the ordinance, see professional offices, I'm assuming are allowed there, but.
Yeah,
Um,
I would assume.
They're all over,
Any of those.
that's-
Yeah, but I think he should file an application with the zoning board, John.
Yeah, I can contact him tomorrow and have him do that.
Okay.
Yeah,
Well, the thing is, and now we're there, if that's what the holdup would be, we'll have him put it in writing, the front 25, he's gonna be offices or something. He didn't say what they were gonna be, but but he wants to get it cleaned up a little bit, and I said, like I said, just like to have it, well, if the zoning board would get to it, if we could get it approved, of course, we can get the facade on the front of that building anyway this year.
Pat, when's your next meeting?
Fourth Monday of this month,
So you can
so,
let them know that, John.
yeah, there's a process, and, the meeting would be the 27th, but for variances, there has to be a public hearing. So all of the people that live within a certain distance have to be advised of the potential for a variance. They have the right to be heard on that issue. So the decision is not gonna be the 27th.
Right,
And
no,
he needs to get his application in as soon as possible, to get out of the next available agenda.
right.
Because I don't wanna find out later on he converted most of that into apartments and just had the small area up front under the guise of, well, it's still office.
We need to have, I mean, listen, again, it's good he's doing it, but we need to know what he's doing.
Right.
I mean, we just can't look the other way when it certainly appears like there needs to be something else going on.
Yeah,
Especially when, you know, you're saying, I'm assuming the building, if you're looking at these pictures that I've got to the right, I'm assuming those are the Turners,
yes,
and they obviously did a very nice job.
Yeah.
They did
Oh, they did
beautiful
beautiful.
windows and, you know.
Beautiful, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, so, agreed.
yeah.
And they went, and that wasn't cheap for them.
I wouldn't have.
I don't know what it cost, I just know it wasn't cheap.
Right.
So he should file for the variance, go through the planning and zoning board before he really finishes.
Correct.
Thank you, John, for putting this together. Very helpful.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, that, you know, I had to show you guys what I went by, but you know, I've been pushing him for a couple of years, and this is the best I could do, but
Yeah.
we'll make him refile and make him give assurances to the village, they are gonna be offices. That should,
Yeah,
but I have to be fair to Vinnie Gay and the Turners and Norman and
Right.
everybody else downtown.
yeah, we gotta be a fair village.
Yeah.
Very true.
I guess that's that. Do I have anything else in this? Trustee Arno?
I'd like to have an executive session on the history of a particular person.
Second it?
All in favor?
Aye.
No.
Down at the state dock, the railing that goes, that's at the state dock, it's, one part of it's broken. I'd like to see if John can take and weld it. If I can take him down there and show him, if you'd like to have me to. You can
State
weld it
dock.
or whatever.
Is it something like someone kept it and broke it, or?
No, it just broke apart.
It just broke apart?
The weld
Yeah.
broke. The
Okay.
weld broke, yeah.
That
Just
doesn't
about
go
using
here,
it also.
You're talking to Peter?
Yes.
Yeah.
that pier, the railing, that black railing, they welded it together, and one of the joints came apart.
Yeah, Johnson wrote that. Anything else?
Also, down by, do we still get the work crew from the prison? Can
They
we?
haven't been out since the COVID.
Yeah, probably not during COVID.
Yeah, they have been out with COVID.
Okay. Well, down by the pier, in another couple of years, we ain't even gonna be able to see the lake. The trees are growing up so fast, and they're willow trees, and they do grow fast. Either we should take and pull them out, or cut them off, one or the other. And they're small right now, I think it'd be easier to pull them out. If they could have probably the street department then pull them out or whatever, because like I said, another 2 years, we won't even be able to see the lake from there,
Which side of the pier are they growing on?
Towards the sportsman's.
Towards Sportsman's.
So you're talking out in the water, right, Benny? Where
No, right on the shore.
Right on the shore.
Right on the shore. When we were down there last week with the fire department, practicing and stuff, I noticed all them and stuff. I mean, it's getting pretty hectic. And, I'd like to see a street light on Columbus Drive.
Oh, this that, the one that we've been working on for a while?
Yep.
Yep. Arsen, you remember that email I sent you about the end of life for the light poles that are out there already?
Yep,
You remember it's like 350 or something?
I said it was, yeah, I think 351, something like that, yeah.
Yeah, because what NICEAG wants to do is they got the old style light bulbs there, and they want us to pay for the end of year lifespan for those before they install the new ones. That way, when they install the new lights, they replace all the old bulbs at the same time. And I've been going back and forth with them probably about 3 months now on that. And we'll make an emotion if we just pay them
Yeah.
for the end of life, and then we get that done.
So it's 350 a light?
No, for the entire thing.
Oh, for the
For all, they'd upgrade all the lights there.
There's like, what, 5 of them out there?
No, I think there's only 2 or 3. Or 2 lights, I think.
I think there's 3, but one's in the front yard, which I'm asking them to move this one, because it's in the front yard surrounded by pine trees.
Right.
So it just lights up the guy's yard. So I've asked them to move that light from there to across the street, so that it actually lights the
Right, and
street.
then there's yellow one on almost the other end of Columbus Drive, and none up the other way towards Bernard.
And none on each far end.
Right.
But that's what's been holding up, because they want us to pay for that.
Okay, I make a motion that we do that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
That's not installing a new light though, that's just to replace the heads.
Yeah. The light itself, the new lights don't cost us anything. They're just putting it.
Is it gonna cost you something to move the light from one spot across the road or not?
They haven't actually told me if it's gonna cost anything yet.
Well, we probably better find out before we have that
Before they
light
move,
change.
just improve the
Yeah, right.
changing of the heads that you just mentioned.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and also I got, behind Vinnie Gay's, the lot behind, down on the lake shore. The village, does the village mow that?
I don't think so.
Well, I think we should start mowing it. It's our property and stuff, and I know it belongs to the village and stuff, and, you know, people can walk down there if they want, because there is a 6-foot right-of-way down through there. I think we ought to, if we're gonna get some park benches or whatever, put a couple benches down there. Have them bolted in and cemented and bolted in, whatever.
I think we talked about that last time.
Is it open down there, Ben?
Yes, it's open, yeah.
Yeah.
It's open to the lake. Well, the reason why Mr. Rivers bought that years ago, used to be 2 houses down there, and the village paid to have them demolished and hauled away. And we required the property. And it's not being used, but the lawn is being mowed, I think, by Mr. Gay right now. And it belongs to the village. I think the village should be mowing it. It's not a very big piece of land, probably 50 by 80, probably, something like that. And it's right on the lake.
must have been some small houses.
Could be used like a park, is that what you're talking about doing?
Yeah, they could put a gazebo down there.
That's what they bought it.
The
for.
land
They
was,
bought it
pur-
through a
land was
grant.
purchased through a grant, part of the waterfront redevelopment that was supposed to give access
Okay.
To the lake.
to boaters, or to give boaters access to the downtown area.
There's supposed to be public docks in association with it?
Someday.
Someday.
With kayaks and, you know, people can pull up with a kayak and go up to the upstairs, up the Main Street stores and be able to visit.
Go get lunch or something.
It was a vision. I think that vision plan, we still have it probably on file. It was just,
Yeah, but we own it, I didn't say you're probably right.
Yeah,
Yeah, we should probably know that.
yeah.
just it gives the people, it gives other people impression that it's not village property and the village should be maintaining it, so everybody knows that it's village property and it's not private property.
Right.
Because I think it's being
Kind of uses.
Broadcast that.
right.
It doesn't help that it's behind everything. Right.
I think that's all I have for now.
Okay. Trustee Menard?
Just once again, I would like to congratulate all the firemen on their anniversaries, and I would like to thank, Mike LeBlanc on getting the grant, and for the fire department, for the equipment, and that's all I have this evening.
Trustee Pelkey?
At the last meeting, the board authorized me to reach out to an electrical engineering firm to pursue a contract. So I reached out to, it's called PLM. It's a contracting outfit that has engineers that work for all the municipal electrics in our organization. So I talked to the owner, his name is Kevin Soden. So he introduced me to one of his engineers, Matt Dunnell. We talked about, like, he's gonna be coming up on September 16th, to meet with myself and trustee Arno to talk about what we're looking for. We're looking like introductions, we're gonna discuss a long-range plan for our existing facilities, possible redevelopment of the old Pfizer site, any known infrastructure issues. We're gonna talk about the tariffs and the regulations that we are regulated through the PSC. So, since 2 years ago, our electrical engineer passed away, so we haven't had electrical engineers, so we need guidance in what direction to go with. Because we have a very good business of running our own municipal electric, and we wanna make sure that in the future, we continue protecting the assets of it. So, he's also working on our flash study for, it's a study that protects our employees and their clothing, you know, their personal protection. So that is something that is mandated through the state and that we have to have a study in place.
That was something they were working on before for us, right, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah.
He's been working on it, but he needs more information, so he needs to come up and, the line crew's been gathering some information that he's looking for. Sent them like the one-line studies, or one-line diagrams of our system, our substation capacity, so now he's gonna do a field trip. He's gonna come up, we're gonna sit down, we're gonna talk about the details of the engineering scope. We're gonna talk about the cost proposals, everything that we wanna lay out on the table.
Yeah.
So, that's gonna be September 16th at 10 o'clock. He's coming from Massachusetts, so we'll be here to discuss everything all our concerns. And, I'd like to see our Sen in the meeting on, especially on the tariff and the regulation supports, and if there's any billing questions, how bills are done. These guys are the professionals, they know how to do it.
So they haven't given any kind of cost proposals or anything yet, Brian? I mean, obviously, they don't know what, everything we want, so they
Right.
probably can't, but I guess.
I haven't seen any billing that he's already done for the arc flash study that he's been working on. So I've been watching, I've been looking at those, you know, see if there is a bill, but that's one of the things that we're gonna talk about when he comes up. And what I did is I reached out to Lake Placid and to Tupper Lake, and I asked them who they were using. And they're highly recommended this PLM system. That's what everybody went to, so I think in the best interest of the village, we need to stay on this. I mean, within cost, you know.
Did they indicate either Lake Placid or Tupper Lake what kind of costs they've been charged for their services, or?
No.
Okay.
Well, Tupper Lake is, well, everybody is in the same boat that we are. They're down on manpower. I mean, you know, everything, the rising costs. I mean, everybody's concerned on what it costs to run their municipal system, so they understand that we want to be careful. So that's why we want to sit down and have this discussion on, especially the cost.
That's great.
So if there's any questions or anything else that you think we should be addressing, I mean, you know, we're gonna go through our infrastructure, make sure that all our settings are right, and especially to make sure that our equipment is safe for the residents and for the people. Just so we have a paper trail where to start from.
Yeah.
Because like I said, unfortunately, our engineer passed away a couple of years ago, and, you know, we haven't had any major issues, but thank God, I mean, that we have to reach out to somebody. So that's where we're at on that. Everything is going very well at the wastewater plant, as you know. We approved to be taking sludge from private vendors, and Danny told me today that things look very well. I think our treasurer has some numbers for us when it comes to his report. He can at least tell us if we're making money or not, or what the scope is. So that's going very well. So, I mean, we have a very large capacity of our wastewater plant, and it's nice that we're making some extra money to defer some of the cost of running it. I need an executive session to talk about union contract negotiations.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I also need an executive session to talk about the employment of a particular history of a person.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
One more executive session to talk about an employment history of a person now.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
That's all I have.
Okay, trustee Rodriguez.
We didn't get a report this month from the sheriff's department or state police. Is there any way we can get that so we can stay like every month, get one?
I can ask them to provide it monthly.
Any update also on, them doing checks at the Anchorage?
Just that they continue to do them monthly on a random day and time, and they have not had any problems.
Okay.
That's social services.
Yeah. If we just get the police reports, that'd be nice to keep
Okay.
a tab what's going on in the village. I'll request an executive session to talk about an employee's history.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Nay. Any other reports? Any other reports? 3 times?
Oh, I got one. The meeting that we went to in Champlain, is there any more information on that, when we went?
On the sewer line?
Yes.
No, there hasn't been any new developments. They're not pursuing it at the time, it was just kind of like, let's see what the viability would be. Would we have a place to send all the sewage? But they don't have, it's a financial thing right now, so they're not looking to do it right now.
Oh, okay, but I know they had the engineers there and stuff.
Which reminds me, because Calvin Castine got a hold of me today. Didn't really give me enough time, but they've done a resolution in the town of Champlain to name the bike path after Mr. McManus in his honor. They want us to pass a resolution along the same vein, but I don't have a resolution for it yet, because I just found out about it today. You reminded me of that, thank you.
Next meeting.
Next meeting. Yeah, we just, the email doing is like, do you have a resolution written up for me? And I haven't heard back. have, yes, I said?
I just want to report that trustee Pelkey was talking about the septic waste. We billed $4,270 versus,
I'm sorry, Tim?
$4,270.
That's
That's for like a couple weeks, the month of August. That's pretty
Nice.
good.
Is that total?
Pardon?
Is that total or one
Okay.
customer?
No, it's total.
Total.
I think it's three customers, I think.
Okay.
And at the next meeting, Susan and myself will be attending the annual NICOM Fall Training School in Saratoga. Just let the board know that.
That's great.
Well, one other thing, the historian and myself are attending the meeting September 25th in Dannemora. It's on a Saturday. Just to let you know that we're keeping up with the Historian Society.
Okay. Can I ask, is it just a generic history meeting, or?
Yes.
Okay. Wonder if there's anything interesting. Oh, that came up the wrong way, but. If there's a presentation of the Dannemora prison or something, I might go.
Oh.
That sounds like it might be fun if they do a presentation like that.
And also, we did receive a speedboat that was built in 1932 from John Ross. His daughter donated it to the village. And I went and picked it up, and it's up in the railroad station right now.
What kind of speedboat is it?
It's 4 foot, or it's 52 inches wide and 11 foot 9 inches tall, long.
Long.
Yep.
Like a Chris Craft or something like that?
No, just a little speedboat that you kneel in and stuff like that, and Mr. Ross built it himself back in 1932, and we got all the history on it, and when he won, it was the fastest boat on Lake Champlain at the time. And we got all the information on it, all the history on it, and so, we put it up in the railroad station, up in the corner, and it looks nice. Yep.
Is it like in the corner of the parking lot?
No,
inside the
inside.
It's inside, okay,
Inside the
good.
building.
I was a little bit worried for a second, we're not keeping
Oh, no,
anything
no.
outside.
I had it in my garage for a week and a half, and I wanted to get it out of my garage, so I decided to put it over there. I had to do some arranging with some of the pictures in there and stuff like that, but.
Neat.
Yep.
Public comments? Oh, Susan?
The board will be having a special meeting on Friday, September 17th at 11 a.m. here in Halsted Hall to discuss engineering plans for the water plant. And I wanted to ask, do we need to publish a special hearing notice for the meeting with the engineer?
I can't make it.
You invited me to go too.
If there's gonna be a quorum of the board, I think it does have to be advertised, so.
Yeah.
That's what I'm asking. Are there gonna be at least 3 of you at that meeting? I heard Benny
Right.
and Brian
I don't
would be
think
at
I
it.
can make it, so.
Jen, are you gonna attend?
PLM did invite me. They sent me an email asking if I wanted to be on the calendar. And I put it on the calendar, so.
Oh, it's gonna be free, is there?
You're
So
gonna
it's gotta
attend,
be
okay.
public.
Then I would say yes,
For
Okay.
which meeting is this?
for the PLM.
Yeah.
Oh, the PLM meeting?
Yeah.
That was my question. Will 3 of you be there?
And what about the other meeting? The water,
On
or
Friday.
water department?
Yes,
Oh, yeah, that's already on
that's
there.
what I
Yeah,
just,
that's-
Okay.
the announcement I just read.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah, 'cause I want to attend that.
Yeah, that's already been on there.
Yeah, that's been published.
And I took a detour on the way back from the conference and stopped by the Barton DeVita's office in Albany. They gave me a little tour of the office, we talked about the water plant. So they're still doing the additional 3D renderings, and they had 2 bathrooms in there, and both Jason and I were like, why do we have 2 bathrooms? We could do just unisex bathroom, have some additional storage, and then half as much plumbing. So they're still working on the 60%. It looks pretty nice. They've had to change some things. They had to put a beam across the center of the building because the way they've got it, they needed an extra support to support the roof, because the filtration system has to have additional clearance. So, looking pretty good. Okay.
Open to public.
is public session gonna be interrupted a third time? Any public comments? Third time? Okay,
Make a motion, we go into recess.
Second?
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Stick my shower in your bag one of these days.
Oh, yeah, it's sitting in my living room, it just looks so nice.
Yeah, don't get touched with it.
Oh, are you tonight?
Good, how are you doing?
Oh, it goes up, should be easy.
Oh my God, that didn't work at all.